In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take free furniture that I found on Facebook Marketplace and turn it into big profit. So stick around. Hey everyone, Side Hustle Steve here, and this is the fastest growing channel on YouTube that talks about side hustles you can do at home while also showing you pictures of creepy sloths. Last year, I paid off $42,000 worth of debt with the help of a few side hustles. This year, my mission is to turn my $600 stimulus check into $20,000 by the end of the year, only doing side hustles. As of last week, the total channel profit was $7,321. Stick around to the end of the video to see where I'm at now. Before we get into the furniture flip side of the video, we need to announce last week's sloth finding winner. After randomly generating a number and sifting through the comments, congratulations, Jan Donley, you're the winner. Thank you for sharing other furniture flipping YouTubers. I hope the $50 helps you on your side hustle journey. For this week's $50 giveaway, subscribe to the channel, timestamp the sloth, and then let me know which side hustle you want me to talk about next. I love the furniture flipping community, and I'll continue posting videos on DIY restorations as well as couch flipping and other furniture flips. But with so many ways to make money out there, I want to make sure that I'm covering a wide variety of different side hustles so everyone can find at least one thing that they can do at home. When you're more aware of money-making opportunities, you're more likely to see those opportunities in the real world. There's actually a psychological term for this. It's called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. It's kind of like when you're in the market for a new car and you start to think that you might be interested in a souped-up Prius. The next day you go for a drive and you start seeing Priuses everywhere. The same phenomenon applies to financial opportunities. The more of them that you're aware of, the more of them that you start to see in your day-to-day life, leading to a wealthier, more prosperous you, which is the point of this channel. Corey at Mission Side Hustle does a great job of this. He creates weekly videos going over all different types of side hustles like junk removal, real estate, and furniture flipping. If you have a minute, go check him out. Okay, now for this week's video. Like I said before, I'm gonna fix up some furniture finds that I got off Facebook Marketplace. There's a desk that I got for free, and then there's two end tables that I got for $25 for the pair. I'll be using a misty gray chalk paint that I got off Amazon, and we'll be spray painting the hardware in a matte black finish. If you wanna follow along at home, I have links to all the products that I used in the description box below. I get a small kickback whenever you use any one of my links, so I'm always super appreciative when you do, because I know you don't have to. All right, let's dive into it. All right, so I am back here with another piece. I have this table here, and I'm gonna go over all the things that I'm going to use on it to fix her up, because she looks good. It's in really good shape. There's no like chips or cracks or anything like that. I got it for free. I was going to pick up another couch, a free couch. While I was picking it up, they said, hey, do you want this? And I said yes. So it's solid wood. It's really nice. What I'm going to do with it is first sand it down. And again, all this stuff is in the links below if you want to follow along at home, but I'm going to sand it down with a 220 grit sandpaper, and then I'm going to move forward with the TSP, which just helps me get a lot of the dust and grime. And there's a lot of junk on here, and there's a lot of like tape residue, which would be really hard to get off if I didn't have a degreaser. It would be very hard to get all that kind of stuff off, but I do. So I'm going to use the TSP. After that, I'm going to wipe it down with soapy hot water so I can get all the TSP residue off. And then to actually fix the piece, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray paint a matte black these little knobs here. I think that'll look really good. And I'm going to use a misty gray chalk paint on it, which I believe is a little bit lighter. And then finally, I'm going to use a water-based polyurethane to go over the final piece of it. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a pretty quick one. Yeah, so I'm actually pretty excited to dive into this piece and to fix her up. I think it's gonna look really good. All right. All right, so the desk has dried. It looks good. Wiped it down with soapy water. So now I am ready to paint. So I'm going to put the first coat of paint on right now. First going to take the hardware out, which will just take a second. I'll film that now. And then I will paint. And as the paint is drying, I'll spray paint the hardware. So I'm just going to wipe it down with the microfiber towel and make sure there's no dust or anything that settled on it. Remove the hardware and start painting. All right, let's do this. All right, so I am done with the first coat. I think it looks good, a little splotchy, but they're coming together. And then over here, I just got done putting the first coat of spray paint on these guys. You'll notice they're propped up. I got that advice from someone in the comment section, which is great, super helpful. And now they're not all blotchy and they're not gonna stick to the cardboard. All I did was screw those in from the bottom of the cardboard and then rest them on top. And yeah, they look great. Okay, so now that that is in there and it's drying, I really like that color. And I'm actually I picked those up a second ago. Those popped up on Facebook Marketplace for $25 for both of them, which I think is awesome. I've never done end tables before, but I've seen a couple other YouTubers do end tables and they're pretty profitable. I mean, $25 is not much, so that's great. I like that hardware, so I'm just gonna do the hardware in black, and then I'm going to paint it that light gray, same as this other piece. So yeah, I'm gonna get on that. Daxon's gonna help, which is fantastic. He's super helpful. Cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna work on those right now. All right, so I just got done washing it down. It looks good. There's a few issues that I'm gonna run into. I have to take off this hardware right here because I want to spray paint that because it doesn't look the best right now, but it looks like it's pretty much keeping that thing together. These are also in here keeping it together as well, so I'm hoping if I take these off it just doesn't automatically fall apart. We'll see about that. Obviously the drawers will be easy. I can just remove those and spray paint those. Those look good. If it stays together, great. I'll just move straight into painting. If it doesn't, then I'll have to figure something else out. But yeah, so we'll do that right now. right, so I'm back out here and it looks good. First coat is on, a little splotchy, but that's to be expected. I noticed a couple uneven areas on these guys, so I went ahead and just sanded that down, and I'll repaint over that. I think it's gonna need at least 2, if not 3 coats of paint on those. I'll just do that here in a second. Other than that, this guy's looking good. Those are drying well. I'll probably put one more coat on those just so it really sticks on there. Before I put the last coat on, I'm going to sand it down. Always when doing chalk paint, sand it down with a 220 grit sandpaper. That'll help it adhere a little bit better, and then I'll also smooth it out. Chalk paint does have a texture to it, and so sanding it down between each coats will help it adhere a little bit more, and then also help it have less texture. All right, we'll do that now. All right, so everything should be dry now. I'm just walking out into the garage right now, and here it is. So this one looks really good. It's very even on all sides. I don't see any like splotchiness or anything like that. So yeah, I am probably on this guy ready to put the hardware on, which is kind of fun. I think it looks really good. I really like that lighter gray, especially when I put the hardware back on and it has that contrast with the dark black handles. I think that's gonna look really good. So I'll do that here in a second. So I'll start that process up. For the end tables, I'm looking at these right now and they're okay. I was running out of paint, so I'm actually just gonna go head over to Lowe's and get some more paint right now, because there's a few spots where you can start to see the wood coming through still, like here. It just doesn't look the best. And towards the feet, there's a few spots where it's just not fully on there. I was just running out of paint, so it's not that big of a deal. So I'm gonna spray on the polyurethane on the desk. While that's drying, I'm gonna go and get another can of the paint. So I'm gonna do that now, and then when I get back, we can start putting on the hardware. All right. I have now sprayed it down with the polyurethane a couple times. The end tables look good. The desk slash table looks great. So I am now just going to put on the hardware and then put it all back together. So yeah, everything looks good right now. I'm excited to see the finished product. So I'm going to put you down and put all the hardware back on. All right. So the hardware is on. Look at that. Looks good, all put together. And then the end tables. The end tables actually are surprising to me. I thought those were not gonna look good when they were all finished. They actually look really nice. I'm happy about those. There they are. Okay, so now it's time to get them listed, and then I will throw them up on Facebook Marketplace and see what we get. All right, well, I think that actually came out pretty good. This was my first time flipping end tables, and they were actually pretty easy to work with. I really like the matte black hardware with the light gray paint. Week by week, I feel a little bit more comfortable flipping furniture. Big thank you to everyone who gives me tips in the comments. I really appreciate that. Before I get into what I made this week, let's recap a few lessons that I've learned so far furniture flipping. If you're new to furniture flipping, this is going to be a great section for you to learn from. Lesson number 1, always clean your furniture with a degreaser before painting. Even if it looks clean, a degreaser will clean off all of the dust and grime that's sitting on top of your furniture piece, so that there's a nice, even, smooth finish at the end with no streaks. I use TSP, but any degreaser works. Just remember to wipe off the degreaser residue with water after you're done, just so you don't leave any streaks. Lesson number 2, apply a light sanding in between each coat when using chalk paint. It's smart to apply a light sanding with the 220 grit sandpaper in between each coat. This will help the chalk paint adhere to the surface a little bit better and remove some of the texture with the chalk paint. Overall, it'll help you provide a nice, smooth finish. Lesson number 3, use a mini roller to cut down time on larger projects. Someone suggested this in the comment section a few weeks ago, and it was a huge time saver. For small cracks and crevices, use a brush, but for everything else, use the mini roller. Bonus tip, put your brush and your roller in a Ziploc bag while you wait for the paint to dry. This keeps everything fresh, so you don't have to wash your brush and roller every time you just want the paint to dry. I've even let it sit overnight and it's still damp and ready to go in the morning. All right, so let's talk about the money side. I got the desk for free off Facebook Marketplace. I spent $25 for both end tables. I spent another $40 on the paint and brushes, which means I'm all in for $65. It took me a total of 4 hours to complete the table and 2 hours to complete the 2 end tables. Like I said in a previous video, I'm valuing my time right now at $20 per hour, which means I'll list the table for $150 and I'll be fine taking $100. And I'll list the 2 end tables for $135 and I'll be okay with $85. I add an extra $50 to what I want for the piece, so I have some room to negotiate. I find that most people on Facebook Marketplace want to haggle. If I build some wiggle room into my sale, I won't miss out on anything if I decide to lower it. They feel like they're getting a win because they got me to come down, and I feel like I got a win because I still got the price that I wanted. On top of that, it'll provide the opportunity for something to sell much higher than what you think it'll actually sell for. I do this all the time with my couches. I typically list them for $50 to $100 more than what I'm hoping for. Most of the time, they try to haggle, but every now and again, I get someone who's willing to pay the higher price and I'm left with a much bigger profit. Speaking of profit, let's get into this week's channel's profit. I ended up selling 3 couches for a total profit of $250, and I sold the dresser from last week for a total profit of $110, which means my total weekly profit right now is $360. This, combined with what I had going into the week, gives me a total channel profit of $7,681, a little shy of the $384 that I needed to hit this week in order to keep up with my goal, but I did order $5,000 worth of paddle boards from a wholesaler online, and when those get here, things are going to explode. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. Tune in next week when I shoot the video that nobody's asking for, which is how I went from a professional athlete to a multi-million-dollar business owner to bankruptcy, and how I'm doing better now than ever. So stick around.